All right, and then we would start off. We say, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" Dom, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
All right,
Pretty good.
This is the second time we had 2 pop-up pods yesterday. Now the third time, and we have very similar backgrounds. Although I'm standing and mine looks cooler because I have the crown molded.
Oh, crown because you're president.
Oh,
and
okay, yeah, sure. I'll wear the
vice
crown.
president, so I have to sit.
Okay, all right, okay.
It's a power thing.
It's a status thing because he's taller than me in general. So anyway, we're making it work here. So we always start off our show with, we call it jolly banter, witty banter. When my wife listens to the podcast, sometimes she tells me, not so witty, cut down the football. There was too much weather talk, whatever. So, but we'll talk about things that, educators talk about while we're discussing at the beginning. Remember when we were going in? So for everybody watching, we're doing this live at PETE&C. We got a great audience here. If my camera was working properly, I would turn it to show everybody. We don't have that right now. But a lot of people here. Let's hear everybody give a quick yay! So really, for the 3 people here, they yelled very loudly. Thank you very much. So, but anyways, as you go and you have this going, like right now, we are just 100% rolling, just kind of doing our deal. We do have a little script that we do set up. It's not on my screen. It's not on his screen. So we're just going to roll with it. But we do have our slide, our Canva slide deck that we'll do. So pulling in the things that are free. Canva, all of our videos are done there. Our short little video transitions are done there. Our background. So right now I have nothing. So if I click now, Dom and I are both hosting here. So as we showed you the bottom row, if I click, I can mess with him as well. The little lava lamp style they've given us, it's pre-made for us. And if you look at the media assets on the right, there's different ones. So we've set up with, again, PETE&C, we have our sponsors. We have the Keystones because the Keystone State. So different graphics that we've made. So when you're looking at doing this in your classroom, now the video aspect, now you have, like, you can almost like say, oh, you guys are like our graphical engineers and you are really good at graphics. You're pulling in Canva. You're doing some things. That's like a station job. Hey, you guys are working on the script. You're working that station job. I do this in my room with the station rotation kind of model. So I try to set up the different ones at my stations where I'm teaching the content that I want them to present on. So day 1, it's me doing content, working on outlining for the script, working on some graphical stuff. Day 2, they got the content, excuse me. So with mine, we're going to talk about some possible video kind of things that need to be done. They're writing the script because they got the content the day before. They're applying the different graphics and putting them in a drive folder for me to do. Then on day 3, we're ready to kind of go through and do like a podcast setup. So that's kind of a fast forward there for some a model that I've tried to incorporate. But then all the different videos and the things that they've added, whether it's a static background, whether it is an animated background, all the left on the bottom, there's the ad. Right under it is a legal image that's not allowed to be mentioned at Hershey's.
Yes. Those are Reese's Pieces. They're just
Reese's.
There's something with the color tinting on that slide. Yeah, those are actually Reese's Pieces.
In there. And the peanut butter. So yeah, you're able to add the things very easily, and it's all set up here and it's live. Now we went really far, and your hand was up earlier. What's the question?
You can ask both.
That's it. But wait a second.
My first question is, so I'm intrigued that you gave them the content. Like, we are podcasting with our students, but we're really new at it. And one hurdle is them choosing the content. It can sometimes not have enough depth. So can you give a few examples of what kind of content?
Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything different than what I'm teaching. Like, I'm teaching 6th grade math.
Oh.
And I'm literally just teaching the concept. And it's like, how can you present it to other people? One day it's like the train the trainer model. You're going to show that how would you, through your mold, how would you talk about teach it? What examples would you give? And they work through. The next one could be like, listen, here's how I talked about it. Give me something totally different than the way you would teach. Show me something better. And so I've worked with my content, and then I have them going through, but now they're just buying into it. They're looking stuff up. They're researching into it. They're doing a different aspect of it and just expanding upon
it. What grade do you teach?
8th grade.
What subject?
It's called Digital Literacy and Media, but for 8th graders, 6th and 7th also take it. For 8th graders, it's all podcasting.
Sweet.
So my other question, which you might have a presentation later, do you through StreamYard master at all, or is that just not a part of what you do? I've just, the previous presenters mentioned a program that used to master audio to make them all. I didn't know if you would.
Soundtrap does that.
It does.
And I think it's free. But I use it with my classroom podcast I do weekly.
Okay.
And it's just a button you hit. With this, we just kind of, I always use the excuse. I show the mistakes and everything, so I show the kids you don't have to be perfect, but it's just easier because if you wait for it to be perfect, you're probably not going to get it pushed out. So it's like warts and all, we kind of go with it.
Okay.
And that's kind of, we always say it's just part of our shtick, but it's also easier for us to like, okay, we're not going to go back through and try and get every little pop and every little glitch out of it.
Not pop and lock to that.
Yes, although like I've been using Notebook LM for like we'll do class discussions and the kids write on my interactive TV and all this other stuff, and I'll make a PDF of that and I'll upload it to Notebook LM, and I always listen to it just to make sure because it takes the PDF, turns it into an audio cast. And the other day, I'm glad I listened to it because teaching social studies and stuff we're talking in 20th century. So I never, whenever I'm writing assassinate, I never abbreviate it, and I never stop to answer questions because if I pause in the wrong spot, I'm in a lot of trouble. My kids are like, giggle, and everyone will know about it. Well, I was sitting there and I'm grading work, and I'm listening to the podcast, and the male voice goes, "Well, this is rather interesting. I don't know what to make of this note." And the female voice goes, "Well, what is it? I'm curious now." It's like, well, I don't know what this means, but it's blank SS, and then there's this number. And I'm like, wait a second. I hit pause, I rewind, and I'm like, I'm looking, I pull up my phone, and I'm going through the PDF. I'm like, nowhere is there assassinate abbreviated with these numbers. And I dump the video, dump the audio, redo it, pops up again. So I'm going through my PDF, and there's a thing of like 10 Cold War crises. And in the corner it was USSR, and then there were some years. And I'm thinking the AI didn't read USSR. It did the abbreviation. So I dumped that slide and it went away. And I was telling the kids about it. Can we still listen to it? Like, no, it's gone. Like we're not posting that to the internet. And the kids named it's a really long podcast. At my third period, they were there when they wanted to name it, and they had a high score on something. So they named the podcast. It's like really long, and like you actually named them. I told you, you get to name it. So if people complain, it's coming back at you. But you have to, like, unless it's something very egregious like that. Like I tell the kids, because they'll sit there and they'll spend 15 minutes trying to like not say this one word incorrectly. As long as it's not a curse word, just go. People don't know. Like it's okay.
Yes, sir.
So you guys could be in totally different locations and still record.
I live in York, Pennsylvania. He lives in Pittsburgh. We never record together, except for here, ISTE. We have guests on.
Like,
other than every so often, Xfinity decides to not be a nice player.
Yeah.
So other than your home internet and any issues you have, there's no issues with lag or anything.
share an account to your same account?
No. Well, it's
one main account we pay. Like we have a paid account through PETE&C.
we each have logins.
and we set it up that we are both like managers on the account. So when the room is set, I log in, he logs in. So it's all in one face that is pushing out. But we log in through. We have our own accounts that we log in through.
There's only one person can control what's going on.
Nope.
No,
Right.
you have a certain number of people depending on what level of StreamYard you have administrative rights.
Yeah. So he and I are administrators right now. I'm doing the screen. This is what everybody's seeing live. He could do it on his. I could do it on mine. Anything on the right, we cross over.
And we control like the number of administrators. So when we have guests on, they can get in here and they'll be in the back room, but they can't push things out. Like they don't have the administrative rights we do, but they log in, you'll see them, but they just can't push out what we push out and control things. So we still have control over it. So if you were to have students on, they don't have the administrative rights. They have a link as a guest. You can record. They can't mess with the side buttons and goof around.
Some guest speaker, they just need to have one of the free accounts.
Oh, so
Add them on.
all right. So real quick,
Where I can't see.
we also
where-
have social right that we could show. Nope, you're good. So Gina's watching and she's on Facebook and she just put hi friends, happy Pete. So we could, as people are interacting, we can put it up on the screen. Going back to your question,
the invite.
we have the moderator accounts, and then what Dom can show you here is when you click on you invite, they get a link. They come in They see the view of the all they see is what we see. They don't see the controls, anything else you're seeing right now. And on the right-hand side, there is a private chat in the bottom. That's the only thing they have access to. We control everything else. They're just seeing that as a guest. You can have up to 10 total in your show on the screen at once for free. If you pay for another version, you can get more. Going back to the audio one, just because we're talking about a lot of different things. One thing that we do is, and we have, I believe, the code that we're going to show later when you mentioned Soundtrap, when the kids are doing it, they're individually recording an audio clip. They're individually recording an audio clip. So now picture that happening in like my wonderful kids are not doing anything wrong. They're all on task. I'm the most amazing teacher in the world. My beard doesn't look like this when it's all over. And I have this beautiful Google Drive. Everything's labeled the way I want. It's just, it's so OCD friendly. And in the end, then you work on uploading it, and you pick a better looking person than us from your class. They're going to be the producer. They're on camera, and you can have somebody else. Like if Dom didn't want to be on the screen, he could leave the screen. But if you do that real quick. I just wanted to do that in general. So anyway, no. But he could be in the back end. Now you have that one student who's he's the producer in the back end. The one person's talking, and now it's time for a clip from blank, and then Dom can go ahead in the media and assets, and he can scroll down media assets. Yep, and then scroll down, and it's an audio clip. So all the way at the bottom, there's music, there's audio clips. Mm-hmm. So he can play the audio clip. I don't have to be on the screen, or the images the other kids make are on the screen. I'm off, he's off, and now boom, just the audio is playing, and they're watching that, right? So it goes with it. So this is the production house. We're doing it live. You could do it live with your kids, the interaction, the whole thing that's happening, but you could also have them put it all together and maybe, hey, we've worked 3-4 weeks. We've got 4 contents that we've taught. You have the stuff. Now we need to produce the show. Here's what we covered. Maybe it's this week, maybe it's this month, whatever the case may be. We're pulling those sound bites in essence. So the audio will be set in Soundtrap with each kid recording. Live, back end, I can control my microphone settings to pull in, pull out. I can do those little things on my own when I'm live. But again, I would handle that with the Soundtrap with the kids individually on their own.
Yeah.
Yep.
And go ahead.
So that they were separate tracks or they merged?
In Soundtrap, you can have any number of tracks. Like with my school, whenever I do my weekly podcast, I had my daughter when she was younger, Magic Garage Band. She made a couple clips. I made a couple clips. I've played around in Soundtrap making some, and the kids, I got goofy with the kids. And there's some apps, free apps on the phone that you can do, like industrial music and techno music, and I'll goof around with that, and then I'll upload them in the Soundtrap. Kids have sent me musical things. I pulled them down as MP3s and uploaded them. And they do have the different sound bites you can pull in and the wacky sounds, which I like. Some other people not so much. But you can pull that in and you can handle each one in Soundtrap, set the volume, shorten it, lengthen it, do stuff like that. But like with this, we do what's called KTI chat several times a year. And one of us will go on. We have 2 people that run the host, and another person will be one of us will be in the background running and fielding questions. Like as we go back to the comments, up here, Gina is in Pittsburgh. She's watching on Facebook, and we can just click on that, push the comments out, and you monitor people on Facebook can see it. YouTube, you have to shut down the comments on YouTube or moderate the comments on YouTube, because one of our first shows when Jeff Bradbury was on, we got a comment from one of the past presidents. Guys, you're getting spammed with very bad things on YouTube. But it wasn't going out to our broadcast because we were moderating, and I just blocked it. So we went in just like, oh, you want to go into YouTube and turn this off. I forget what exactly the setting was. We turned it off and then stopped. You stopped getting spammed.
And then going back to the question too, I would not recommend, if you're going to do a production like this, I wouldn't build the whole thing out in Soundtrap because you want to have that interaction. So I would do one clip, and you're gonna have multiple files. And then the kids, when they're presenting, click, we're going to go to this first snapshot. This is what we covered. This is what we covered week 1. This is on, working on three-dimensional objects in surface area. Boom, they played the clip. Boom, you have the graphic in the background. They produce that. Then they come on. You can have them like talk a little bit about it, and then all right, here's what the next group. Here's how they took the whatever the lesson. Here's how they added to the lesson. Whatever you're doing, then have them play the next clip, as opposed to, hey, again, if you're having a production, you want the video, because again, there's a lot of research on the kids and how powerful video and images are, and they're going to like stay clued in longer with that. So I like that. Some of them will just do the audio version. We'll talk about that in a second, but that way there's that interaction and you're pulling in the different pieces, right?
And as Gina just commented, she can see the alerts on Facebook. When we go live, she gets that alert. So if you're doing a live broadcast or if you're pushing out, it can be the notification set. But like with our Spotify, once we're done with the show, I download the audio file, I push it out to Spotify, and then Spotify gives you on Twitter and other socials, hey, our podcast is published. But Spotify now allows you to do video. We were doing both video and audio, but it was doubling down. And people on phones, they were just getting double episodes. So we do YouTube is video, Facebook is video. I'll download the audio file. It takes a while for it to convert, just pull the audio down. And that's what goes out to Spotify and to the other podcasting sites.
So another feature of StreamYard, if you look on the right-hand side, right now we're in the comments. The next one down is banners. So you can have the students also, we're doing scripts. I got done with my scripts. Let's think of some banners. Think of the ticker tape right on the bottom of the screen, whether, news flash or news alert. And so there's different ones that we put in. So we have, this is just a static one, pops up on the screen, while we're presenting, hey, email us. Here's our email address if you have any show ideas. And then whatever, we're doing different segments, we'll kind of name them. When we remember, sometimes we forget. And then if you want to click on a banner one, a scrolling one.
I can't read my screen.
Good. All right, so right here on the bottom we have for our sponsors when we do this, that's what we're doing. But they can have their different aspects set up when they're doing that. So again, it's another place where you're segmenting it out for more jobs, so more kids are actively involved in the creation of it. Anything to add there real quick before I go to the question?
I mean, this with the OBS studio, you have to have all this stuff set up ahead of time. With this, you can go on the fly. There's a lot, like Eric said, we'll be sitting there, we should have pushed out this website, or this topic came up that someone mentioned that we have a guest on that they didn't tell us. Because we'll send out emails like, here's the questions if we have a guest that we're going to talk about. Anything you want to add to it. And sometimes I forgot to do this. We can go in, one of us is talking, the other person go in, type in into the
banner at the bottom.
Create banner.
And then when you go in, you type in what you want to be said. You want it to scroll, or you want it to stay static. That's your choice there. And then you click add banner, and it's automatically in. So sometimes a person may come on and talk about their website, like you said. You click add it, and you're good. All right.
Built into StreamYard, is there any sort of background noise reduction? Just have the microphone.
Yes.
There are two things. You want to go into settings? You got echo cancellation. That is working. Right, so your echo cancellation, reducing your background mic noise. And then you could say automatically adjust. But I found on mine, again, when I was just using the first pod mic, it was really, really low. So I had to put that up. With the other one, it's a little bit better, but I don't trust the auto.
Yeah. I had the same thing with mine. We had people that were listening, were back and forth. It would drop down at certain times. So we set it and we just go with it.
We found that it's been pretty successful at reducing the echo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Even yesterday we were producing live. We had issues with internet that were causing issues, but we had people walking around and everything, and we just had our mics in front of us, and the background noise was everybody could hear us clearly. It was just some of the delay because of the internet issues that were plaguing all of us yesterday. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned inviting them as guests to make us certain things.
Yes.
What if you wanted them to collaborate and be like a producer or a graphics person that's not on camera and you want them to have access to everything?
You just have You just have a max of 2, and that would be, I believe it's not on this screen. I don't think we can do it here. But when you go in, you can set them up as you set managing role. So what you would do if you want to do that, talk to hopefully your IT is nice, and you can set up 2 vanity emails and then have it go to you. and just be like producer 1 at whatever your school district, whatever your like ours will be at Dalstown.net, producer 2, and just have it redirect to you. But then the kids can use that as a login. But if anything would happen with any your emails are coming to you, you can check that system. But then they would just sign in, and then any kid that goes in, I'm producer 1, I'm producer 2, kind of a thing. I think it's just 2 for free with our first tier of pay, which just to let you know, it's $400 a year is the license that we get, and we're able to get 4 people as moderators and up to the 10 people.
And then you can set up the themes, the background, how the names look on the screen, the colors, different things you can set up.
And then the other thing too is you like if you have kids doing, so I have like 2 kids that are presenting, but you have that kid that's like really likes the graphical stuff, but doesn't want to be on camera. What Don was sharing earlier is we have Stream Decks, and Stream Deck it's like $50 to $100 depending on how many buttons you want on it, and you can actually set up. They have profiles, so when I'm in StreamYard, I make sure I click on the screen. I'm active on this window. I have buttons set up that I can automatically change the setting, the screen that's showing. I can go through and have a couple things fly in or fly out. So as far as the banners, so you can have we have a OBS like full blown TV studio that we do our morning announcements in. There's one kid sitting there like adjusting the volume. There's one kid that's got like this really big deck and they're changing the different things. You can do that with the Stream Deck piece. You got your StreamYard where they're producing, another person in the back end that's doing some of the different things. So like you can kind of set it up so it's like almost like a mini TV studio, but you don't need as many people involved. Yeah. Do we want to roll into the presentation?
Yeah. So let me pull that up.
What time is this over? I want to make sure we're not over.
We're running
lean.
Yeah.
Oh wait, did you put this last one up from Gina?
Yeah.
Her lunch is
So
over.
it's over.
Okay. Sorry you're not here, Gina. We appreciate you.
I can get back to
She
this.
likes to come on and help us and make sure it keeps us in line.
Yes.
We appreciate
And
it.
the one nice thing, like I will torture people that, especially over football season. I can't see like that. This is driving me nuts to share screen because I'm like 0.65 font right now. I'm like, I have bifocal contacts in it. I cannot see.
First time driving, you hear all these excuses rolling here. You're doing great.
Thank you. So I'm going to pull this up. I'll go into present mode.
So yeah, real quick, when you're going to present something on the screen like that, you want to go up to like 200% if you have text on the screen. This is like something I do when you're
And I usually run, when we're presenting at home, I have a second screen. I didn't bring it down today. I should have. But, with this, this is our old, we had a guest from Vivacity on. This is from our ISTE presentation.
Up in that top corner is where you're going to see this logo. If it's free, it's really not a real bad, like it's just the Mallard and StreamYard. But we're able to turn on and turn off that. So let's go and scroll through. It's up. You're good.
So, the thing is, get started. If you wait and keep trying to make decisions and you should look at this, you look at that, you're not going to get started. The thing is just go out, get started. I know teachers, as being a tech coach way back in the CFF days, people didn't want to roll out new things with their students until they mastered it. And technology changed so fast that if you wait till you master it, it's going to be obsolete. So show the kids it's okay to make mistakes because they're going to be afraid to make mistakes if you're requiring them to master to be perfect. Like it's okay. Like I make mistakes, and I tell them if you listen to my podcast like you're supposed to, you're going to see I make mistakes. It's all right to do that. So this is like a little bit of a background why we do it. For this, we promote PETE&C best practices of use in educational technology. So
yeah, we'll share like tech notes, like what are teachers using in the classroom, what we're using in the classroom. We'll go over because sometimes I get geeky dorky about this company bought out that company, and we'll kind of share that news like, hey, this is important for us all to know, like different things that happen like that. So we'll kind of go over those kind of things. Like again, those are like different things that you could do in your room and having the kids share the highlights and even the goofy things like, can you believe Miss So-and-so fell for the 3rd time when spilled her coffee? Like, yeah. I mean, right. The real life of Mr. Verno forgot where he put his water bottle for the 16th time. And we had to rescue it from down the hall in the water fountain. Like, I mean, and that's why I have students to go find my stuff.
we'll goof on this, but it's not it's our podcast, but we're representing PACT, so we're a little more restrained, if you can imagine that. My last podcast, I have a dad joke of the week. I'll do things and I'll be like, oh, here's, if you can figure out what mistake I made, I will give you, 5-point side quest, and we do different things.
Bribery at its finest.
Yeah. The brainstorming planning, the creation tools. This will be all pushed out. I'll have the one. This is the ISTE one from last year. I have the updated one. I will push out to the PETE website. But we go through and we use Loop. We've done different things. Microsoft Loop. We've tried Google Docs for our planning.
We tried
Notion.
Yeah, Notion, that just filled up so fast.
Yeah. So we'll send out emails to our guests. And the only question we have that's mandatory that they ask is, there's 2 questions. What is your educational superpower? And the second one is, you can't steal these because we have them. We're in the process of getting it copyrighted. If you could have any superpower that exists or doesn't exist, what would that superpower be? And those are the only 2 mandatory questions they have to answer. Everything else, like, well, what would you like to talk about? We have teachers come on, things they do in their classroom, PACT members. The vets come in, members of the PACT board come on, or different committees, what they're doing. And we'll do that through email. And then we pull that into Loop, and that kind of guides us as to what we're going to do as we go through our podcast for how we're going to handle things. A lot of it is open. When we interview people, we have guests on. We always say it's conversational. I don't want it to be, I'm going to ask you a question and you respond. It's what do you want to talk about, and then where does the conversation go? Because you want it to be informal, you want it to be relaxed, as opposed to, question answered. It sounds almost robotic.
And let's be honest, if we did trademark it, you'd be able to sell him a shirt off of Temu and he'd give you the trademark back, right?
Yes.
All right. So our flow, we worked on it. You're going to figure out what works for your classroom. We did, witty banter, just to make ourselves feel good. And then we do like we have a scripted intro, which we didn't even do. And we probably should do for you just to show you. And then our main topic, and guess we roll right into it. And then again, we talk about tech notes or tech news, any upcoming events again, because we're covering stuff that our organization's doing. And then we always make sure we thank our sponsors, and that is a Canva rolled over video at the end. Well, real quick, go ahead and click on our video. Just do our
escape out of this.
And while he's doing that, another thought too would be the kids are going to use their phones, whether you got Adobe that they're using, whether they're using a CapCut until that's officially like cut out of their lives. They're using for TikTok. All those videos you can pull in just as we add any audio clips they do. You can have them doing that recording and stuff, and you can pull in those videos. It's first Tuesday, it's the third Tuesday. It's time for PACT Hub. We play that. And then we have the only scripted thing we have is when they come in, we say, welcome to the PACT pod, a show for educators, by educators through PACT. And then I say, I am Eric Verno, president of PACT. With me, as always, is my co-host.
Dom Salvucci, vice president of PACT.
And then we'll talk about what the intro is. That's the only canned thing we have. But just to show you another example of pulling in video, coming back on, and then just
on various platforms, Canva, whatever else. It's a side quest. Make something. You're better at it than I am. Go with it. And I've always done that. When I had iPads and iPod touches for my classroom computing system, if you can figure this out, I'll give you extra credit. Why are you doing that? What are you going to go home to when you go home? Oh, I'm going to play video games. I have to cut grass, take the garbage out. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to go shopping. You have more time than I do, and you're better at this than I am. I'll give you credit. Like, write it up, make a tutorial, show your classmates how to fix this.
I'm gonna text your wife and see if you really go grocery shopping real quick.
I do.
Is StreamYard all cloud-based, or is there like installed suite?
You can download it. It's all cloud-based, but you can like download your report to your computer if you need to.
And then the other thing we didn't mention, when your guests come in, they immediately get a screen that they can connect any social that they want. They get the 3 socials as well. So again, when we were working with another company, they came in, it kicked off on their Facebook page for their company, their LinkedIn page for their company, and then they didn't have anything else that they did. Personally, you might send it to those different things, right? And then when you're done at the end, like you said, you can download it, you can email it out, put it in Drive, share the different clips. For schools, again, I would say dump it into a folder. And then whether it's the Google site is really the easiest website making right now, whether it's a Google site or something else your school's using, then you could just add it in there on that page so the kids can click on it and they can view it, listen to it whenever it sees fit. Again, our number one, we got driving to work, which we're scared that we don't want to get in an accident, and dog walkers. Like our teachers love when they're walking their dogs.
This isn't the 24. I will get you the code. Like I said, this is the old, and I apologize for that, but it'll be in the updated file on the PETE website.
We'll finish off with the Q&A. We're really close. Yes, go ahead. He's got one for you. Yep. Yes, sir. By the way, great beard. Yep.
So when you share screen, I know you said about it's being easier with a second screen. I know sometimes using StreamYard, I had trouble with my second screen being right on my laptop.
Sure.
Is it just an HDMI connection to like a separate monitor screen or anything like that?
Yeah, I run the second monitor. At home, I have a bigger monitor, and then whenever I travel or when I'm at school, I have just a HDMI because I was able to just use a USB to USB hookup, and then when Apple updated their OS a few iterations ago, it didn't work. I had to buy what you call it, the bigger connect HDMI thing.
And then the other thing I run, this goes into a splicer. So I have double, so I have technically three monitors being run. You could say when I'm sharing, I want to share a window, I want to share a tab, I want to share a whole screen. And then once you set that up, like if he clicks on present, right, or you can just do stop here and then click on present. You have those clicks I can just do straight from a slideshow. If I'm only showing that, and then you're next to camera. And then if you have a video, you want to just be able to click it, play that video. Or if you do share screen, once you set that, it shows up in the bottom. You don't have to like alt tab to get to it. You go ahead and click, it will show up. Now, if you want to have your mouse over and show that, then you would have to alt tab and show that aspect of it. But you really could show what's on there if you just want to like static if it's up there. Yeah. So once you do it, it kind of gets out of the way.
We're over time.
Okay. All right. Well, then we need to.
If you guys have questions, please email us. Eric.bruno@pact.org. Dom.Salvucci. His is a little bit easier to spell out, but at pact.org, and we will answer any questions. I will get this uploaded by tomorrow. Get the actual presentation up there with you. PACT is proud to partner with Teachers First to award Pennsylvania educators Act 48 hours for attending each live virtual workshop. For more information on live workshops, check out our calendar at pact.org.